All right, family, let's jump right in. Dear Dr. Dandridge, something strange is happening with my husband. As he gets closer to the end, the house feels calm, almost peaceful, but that calm makes me uncomfortable, like I'm waiting for a storm that never comes. Part of me feels guilty because I'm relieved the chaos has slowed down. Another part feels terrified because the quiet makes everything feel final. Is it normal for the end to feel so still? Wow, this is actually a really good conversation to have today. One of the struggles that a lot of my families go through is the quietness that is so prevalent as people are approaching end of life. We're so used to noise, we're so used to people talking, we're so used to um, just hustles and bustles and things happening around us that as people are approaching end of life, there is typically inside of their environment a certain level of calm. One of the interesting things with regards to hospice care is a lot of people are placed on oxygen machines. And those machines are extremely loud. But a lot of my patient families cannot handle how loud they are because that's the primary noise that they're hearing as the person is approaching end of life. My greatest encouragement, or should I say, my greatest advice to you would be to understand that stillness doesn't mean that something is wrong. One of the interesting things, and I kind of have to go back to like children and how children just cannot sit inside of one place without something happening because then it's like something's wrong, something needs to be happening. I encourage my patient families to learn to rest inside of that calmness, to rest inside of that peace. And like you said, um, there was, what did you say? Part of me feels guilty because I'm relieved the chaos has slowed down. I don't think a lot of families truly appreciate that calmness and that peace, especially if your loved one is passing at home. I've been inside of situations where it is very loud, it is very chaotic. You've got people who pass where CPR is being done for hours at a time or moments at a time. You have people that are in ICU and all you hear is machines and all you hear is doctors and all you hear is nurses. And one of the beautiful things about hospice, especially for individuals who are passing at home, is that you can control that environment. Give yourself grace because you have offered your husband a peaceful environment to transition in. And that within itself is a blessing. One of the things that I also like to point out to my families is that a peaceful environment is actually the perfect door for grief to enter through. A lot of individuals enter grief through crisis. A lot of individuals enter grief through trauma. A lot of individuals enter grief through chaotic situations. It is a blessing for you as a caregiver, as a spouse, to have a calm and peaceful environment so that when that time of transition comes for your husband, you are not met with the bombardry and the chaos of everything associated with death. The biggest word of advice, and I actually wrote this down before coming on so that I could really get my wording right. I want to encourage you that you don't need to fill the space. You don't need to fix the moment. The only thing you need to do for your husband right now is to be present. One of the beautiful things about end of life is just the power of presence. That's one of the things that we learn inside of clinical pastoral education is just the power of being present. I've sat inside of rooms where people get very antsy about just the quietness and the stillness. And like you said, just that nothing happening and that anxiety building up. Sitting with someone in the stillness and quietness of the moment is very challenging, but it is also very rewarding. The moment that you can fully be present for your loved one. It's almost nostalgia to experience a person take their final breath in the stillness of peace and the calmness of a room. It is much different than watching a person take their final breath with chaos and trauma and crisis happening around them. So, to answer your question, is it normal for the end to feel so still? The truth of the matter is that it's not. It's not normal for your husband to have this kind of environment because a lot of people do not transition, a lot of people do not pass with still, quiet environments. But it's a blessing that your husband does have this. And I would just encourage you to embrace this blessing of being able to provide this peaceful environment for him. So, again, I want you to know that stillness doesn't mean that something is wrong, that peace is actually the perfect door for us to enter grief through that calmness versus the chaos and the trauma and just the camaraderie of end of life experiences that some people go through, and just be present. You don't need to fill the space. You don't need to fix what's going on. You don't need to make noise. If you want to offer a peaceful environment, if you want to play music or peaceful nature sounds, you can do that. But it is okay to just sit in the silence of the moment and to be present in the moment with your husband as he is approaching end of life, and to truly embrace and be drowned inside of that calmness and that peace. I can honestly say that when you do that, you'll be able to carry a level of that calmness and peace with you in the days to come. So thank you again for joining me at my desk. This has been Designing Your Goodbyes. I'm Dr. Dandridge. I hope that this conversation has given you a little bit of hope and then also a little bit of peace, further peace inside of your environment and inside of this calm that you are experiencing inside of your home as your husband is approaching end of life. Definitely will be keeping you inside of my thoughts and prayers. And um, I hope that this season is as peaceful and as gentle for you as possible. If this has helped you in some way, shape, or form, if this conversation has blessed you in any way, do me a favor, just share this with someone who might be at home right now inside of a quiet room with their loved one, experiencing this level of anxiety and trying to figure out what to do with the quietness, what to do without the noise. Share this with them. I hope and I pray that this conversation helps them and encourages them just a little bit inside of this season. Listen, I've got another conversation right here for you that I believe might be of some assistance as you are navigating this journey in this season of hospice care and end of life transitions. Again, I'm Dr. Dandridge. This has been Designing Your Goodbyes, and I will see you inside of the next conversation. Peace.